Go ahead.
One would be forgiven for thinking that these were the counterinsurgency tactics used by U.S. Army bases in Iraq and Afghanistan, or perhaps the military methods taught in third world despots, or taught to third world despots at the School of the Americas at Fort Benning, Georgia. But instead of being used in a war zone or the theater of occupation, they in fact make up the very visible security apparatus in London for the 2012 Summer Olympics.
For the 2012 Summer Olympics. And you know, you got the Dream Team going to be there, all the big stars there, the Queen Jubilee. They have dressed the whole UK up. You've never seen the UK looking like it's looking now. All the surveillance cameras are in place already. All in Leeds and Manchester, Birmingham. There's cameras everywhere. There's CCTV everywhere. So the surveillance grid have already been put in place. Read on.
London, which has the most street cameras per capita of any city on earth, has for the 7 years since the terror attacks of July 7, 2005, been a city whose political leaders would spare no expense to monitor its own citizens.
Go ahead.
But the Olympic operation goes above and beyond anything we have ever seen when a Western democracy hosts the games. Not even in China in 2008, used drone planes or ringed the proceedings with a massive high voltage fence. But here in London, preparing a counterinsurgency and parking an aircraft carrier right in the Thames. Here is London adding scanners, biometric ID cards.
Scanners, biometric ID cards. Go ahead.
Number plate and facial recognition.
Facial recognition. Go ahead.
CCTV systems. Disease tracking systems.
Disease tracking systems. What are they planning to do? Read.
New police control centers and checkpoints. Stephen Graham at The Guardian refers to the entire state of affairs as lockdown London, as well as the UK's biggest mobilization of military and security forces since the Second World War. He is not exaggerating in the slightest. The number of troops will exceed the forces the UK has had in Afghanistan.
So they will have more troops in London during the Olympics than the troops in Afghanistan that's growing the poppy seed right now. Because there's no war there, unless they're tearing down some areas to plant more poppy seed. Read on.
It's not just the cost or the incredible invasion into people's privacy. It's the powers being given to police under the 2006 London Olympic Games Act, which empowers not only the army and police, but also private security forces to deal with security issues using physical force. These security issues have been broadly defined and include everything from terrorism to peaceful protesters, to labor unions, to people selling bootleg Olympic products on the streets, to taking down any corporate presence that doesn't have the Olympic seal of approval. To help them with the last part, there will be brand protection teams set loose around the city. These teams will also operate inside Olympic venues to make sure no one wears clothes or accessories with commercial messages other than the manufacturers, who are official sponsors.
Under Satan. Go ahead.
The security operation...
Another thing, all your corporations are under Satan, every last one of them. If you got a church at a 501c3 status, you're under Satan. Anyone that's incorporated, you're under Satan. He's the all-seeing eye at the top of your pyramid, buddy. Everything is linked in, and he's at the top. If he can control what you do and what you say, and there's a financial interest that you lose by going against his rules, you are bought and paid for. So there's many ways of selling out. Read.
The security operation also means the kind of street harassment of working class youth that will sound familiar here in the United States. As The Guardian reported, officers have powers to move on anyone considered to be engaged in antisocial behavior.
Anyone that's dealing with antisocial behavior, the police can move on. And see, that was the real reason they did the provocateur of the London riots early, so they can have this in place, so they can have rules and laws in place for what's about to happen. Read.
Whether they are hanging around the train station, begging, soliciting, loitering in hoodies, or
So if you are loitering in hoodies, I wonder who they're targeting with hoodies. How can you be loitering with hoodies? If I have on a hoodie, that's me having on a hoodie. How is that suspicious behavior? So right now, what are they doing? Racial profiling. So the things you may do naturally, hang on a corner, or may go up the street and say, "What's up?" at your boy at the corner store, and he's just hanging out, they're going to look at you suspicious because you got a hoodie on, and the police can move on you based on these laws. Or you might think this is just London, right? Oh no, there's 30,000 drones that's right now that been instituted within America borders alone. There's troops already on the street. We're already in martial law. They're about to roll it out. And the reason they've been targeting our videos and been trying to take them down is because we've been talking about this before anyone on YouTube or nothing, all this conspiracy garbage. We was telling people what the Most High was saying back then, before YouTube. And we told people on the streets of Philadelphia, listen, brothers and sisters, soon things are going to be fenced in and you will see tanks rolling down the street. I'll never forget that statement. And we're here. So they don't want a document. They don't want it visually documented that it been said before it even happened. And it was prophesied out of the Bible that they would take us down, just like they did in 70 AD, trying to fight the awakening. But a few of us is going to get through this. Even if I don't get through this, it's fine. Being out there on the streets, bringing forth this word, waking up our people, as long as we continue to do this work, it's well documented that we have worked and brought forth understanding and have awakened many. So my life is a small price to pay, brothers and sisters, for the number of people the Most High have allowed us to awaken. Finish reading.
it says not to shock anyone, but there are no signs that any of the security apparatus will be dismantled once the Olympics are over.
Go ahead.
Local police forces have just been given an inordinate number of new toys, and the boxes have been opened, the receipts tossed away.
Hold up now. It tell you that the police have given a box of new toys. They got weapons over there that they didn't even tell you yet. And these people are not looking to harm anyone. These people in America, these poor people, they're just trying to get by. They're just trying to live their life. They're not trying to harm anyone. What is the threat? Bin Laden is dead, right? Listen clearly. Go ahead.
London will be left with a high-tech police force, terrible debt, higher taxes, with a camera around every corner. The only people who will leave this party enriched will be the private security industry.
And who are the people that are paying for all this added security in London and in the UK? Who pay the taxes? The citizens. So while they're telling you it's austerity and they have to cut your benefits and cut your jobs and cut your social programs, your taxes will now be put into enforcers who will be used against you, the taxpayer. But yet there's no money. They're bankrupt. Oh, but you can put drones on buildings. I mean, you can have missiles coming down on buildings. High-tech weaponry that our society have never seen, but you're broke? No, you can pay for what you want to pay for. You can pay for weapons against the poor because that's your plan anyway. Because what happens to a society when they realize there's no more jobs, there's no more work? When you cut their social programs and cut their welfare, it's too many people that will come together for the sake of survival that you can handle. That's really what's going on. It's too many people. And because there's too many people that's going to come together against the small elite, because you got the money, you got the food, you living good. Imagine if a million people came together because they had nothing to eat. They will get something to eat. And y'all understand this. So you're putting something in place to destroy and soft kill them. So that your austerity does not work against you. So that your austerity programs against the poor don't work against you. You know that people have the innate spirit of survival. And if you try to destroy these people all at once, they're going to come together. So you can't do that. So you must slow kill them until they're down to a manageable number. And that's why you have your FEMA camps and your camps abroad all through the earth. That's why you have the NSA, your fusion centers. That's why you have your incinerators in black neighborhoods. That's why you made the majority of your funeral homes get crematories. When in the black neighborhoods, there was no cremation at first. And that's why you've been censoring us, because we know, and we're going to tell it. We've told it before, and we're going to tell it real time. Finish reading.
The only people who will leave this party enriched will be the private security industry, who will tout the peace as their personal accomplishment, encouraging more of the global 1% to get more guards, more walls, and more separation from the great unwashed. There is no reason that the Olympics have to be this way. There is no reason that an international celebration of sports, particularly sports more diverse than our own typical high-carb diet of football, baseball, basketball, and more football, can't take place without drones and aircraft carriers. There is no reason athletes from across the globe can't join together and showcase their physical potential. But the Olympics aren't about sport anymore than the Iraq War was about democracy. The Olympics are not about athletes, and they're definitely not about bringing together the community of nations. They are a neoliberal Trojan horse aimed at bringing in business.
It's a Trojan horse aimed at doing what?
Bringing in business.
Bringing in business.
And rolling back the most basic civil liberties. In many ways, this is what the games have been, from Hitler's Berlin Olympics in 1936 to the slaughter of students in 1968 in Mexico City.
Exactly. It's a political football. Go ahead.
To the gang sweeps in Los Angeles in 1984, to Beijing's mass displacement. When you had your list of past Olympics saying, about this is what the games have always been, you left off the list of the 1972 Summer Olympics Games in Munich and the murder by terrorists of a group of Israeli athletes at the games. Why exactly did you leave those games off your list? Why? That kind of thing is what London organizers are trying to prevent happening this year. They are not to blame for the fact that the potential for that kind of thing or similar terrorism exists in this day and age.
And that is crystal clear, and you cannot deny it. That's what they have. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not something we thought of. This is what they have. Everything in this article is what they have in London as we speak, real time. The question is why? Well, that brings us to this document that I looked into. And when the document was sent to me, I'm like, okay. And I thank the brothers who have sent it to me. I thought it was something that probably somebody made up, put Rockefeller on it or whatever, you know. But then I go to the website, ROCKEFELLERFoundation.org, and type in PDF under the search. And it so happened they have this document on the ROCKEFELLERFoundation.org site, and I downloaded it and printed it from there.